Assalamualaikum and good morning. Today I'm going to teach you regarding the epithelium and also the gland. So there are two components of this lecture, the epithelium and also the gland. Okay, what is epithelial tissue? So the epithelial tissue is avascular tissue, means that it does not have a vessel. And the cells of the epithelial tissue it line the external body surfaces. Okay, for example here skin. It also line the internal cross-body cavity that include the vascular system and also the cell here, the cell of the epithelial tissue, it line the body tube, and this body tube it communicate with the exterior. Okay, so example here we have the respiratory tract, we have the digestive tract, and also the genitourinary tract. Okay, and the epithelial tissue it also form the secretory and the ductal portion of the gland, and the last one, it also form a specialized cell for special senses. So these are the area that you can find the epithelial tissue. So these are the functions of the epithelial tissue. If you see here, the first function is secretion. Okay, so this the secretions function is done by the columnar epithelium of the stomach, and then next one is absorption. Okay, it is done by the columnar epithelium of the intestine, and the transport it's actually done by the cilia, or also can be through the across of the epithelium to and from the connective tissue. And the fourth one is a protection, and this function actually is done by the stratified squamous of the skin. So you can see here our skin is protect the underneath tissue. And then the last one is receptor function, where it receives and transduce the external stimuli. Okay, so this is actually is the one of the form of the spatial sensory epithelium. Okay, you can see here. Okay, this is the area of the body that you can find the epithelial tissue with the specific functions that I have mentioned just now. Okay, okay. In terms of the characteristic of the epithelial tissue, okay, you can see here the cell are closely opposed to each other. Okay, and it also adhere to one another by a specialized cell junctions. Okay, between the cells, and they have a cell junction, and it is closely adhered to one another. Okay, and the epithelial tissue it exhibit the functional and morphological polarity, so mean that they have a polar or pole. They have three pole. Okay, the apical domain that located at the surface here, and then the lateral domain located at the lateral side, and the basal domain. Okay, that located at the bottom here. The basal surface is attached to the basement membrane. So you can see here this pink color structure, this pink color line here actually is belong to the basement membrane. Okay, cool. Okay, for the classification of the epithelial tissue, there are two factors that contribute to the classification of the epithelial tissue. The epithelial tissue can be classified based on the number of cell layer, okay, how many cell layer it has, and also the shape of the surface cell. Okay, here is focus on the shape of the surface cell, not the bottom part of the cell, okay, but the surface cell. Okay, based on the number of the cell layer, it can be a simple that only one layer that has only one layer thick, or can be a stratified that having two or more cell layers. And in terms of the shape of the surface cell, it can be squamous or flat cell, okay, cuboidal. The shape of the cell is square in shape, and columnar. Okay, the shape of the cell usually it has tall, tall shape or rectangular in shape. Okay, so these two components can be combined, and then it lead to this type of the epithelium. So you can see here, we combine together these two components. So here you can have a simple squamous epithelium. We also can have a stratified squamous epithelium, mean that simple squamous epithelium, they has one layer. Stratified squamous epithelium, they have a multiple layer. But here is a squamous. The cell is a flat shaped cell. Okay. Then we have the simple cuboidal epithelium. We have the simple stratified cuboidal epithelium, and then we have the simple columnar epithelium. and also we have the stratified columnar epithelium. And then we also have the special type of epithelium. Okay, we have the pseudo-stratified epithelium and also the transitional epithelium. Later we're going to discuss further on this type of special epithelium. And then we also have the specials, special component that present on the apical surface domain. Whether there is a presence of the cilia, okay, or there is a presence of the keratin, okay, keratinized. Now we're going to discuss on the types and also the distributions of this epithelium. For the simple epithelium, okay, the surface epithelia consists of a single layer of cell. Okay, it consists of the single layer of the cell. Okay, because from the name you know that it's simple, right? A single layer of cell. Where you can find this type of epithelium, it can be found at the interface that involved in the selective diffusions, absorptions, and also the secretions. Because of this epithelium, it only has a single layer, so it allows this process to be happen. Okay, like diffusion, absorptions, and also secretion because of the thin layer of the epithelium. And for the stratified epithelium, it consists of two or more layers of cell. Okay, and mainly this stratified epithelium is for the protective functions because of the several layer that it has. So the function mainly here is involved in the protections. And the degree of the stratifications are related to the physical stress as to which the surface is exposed. Okay. The more that area that it exposed to the physical stress, the more thick that epithelium, the more thicker the epithelium. Okay, and then now we're going to discuss on each type of the epithelium that I have mentioned just now. We start to discuss on the simple squamous epithelium. Okay, for the simple squamous epithelium, it line the surface that involved in the passive transport diffusions. Okay, passive transport diffusions. Okay, for example here, lung, because of there is exchange of the oxygen and also carbon dioxide happen in the lung. And also it can be found in the capillary. So you can see here, this is the endothelium, okay, simple squamous epithelium, okay. And the lining of the cavity, the pleurals, pericardials, and also the peritoneum, okay. Okay, for the simple squamous epithelium, sometimes it has a special name. Okay, for example here, the endothelium, okay. Endothelium, in the case for the endothelium, actually is the special type, a specific name of the simple squamous epithelium that line the blood vessels and also the lymphatic vessels. So you can see here, this is the endothelium that line the blood vessels. Okay, so you can see inside there we have the red blood cell. And then, in case if the simple squamous epithelium found in the heart, okay, it has a special name here. The endocardium. Usually it line the internal surface of the ventricles on and also the atria of the heart. Okay, endocardium. Okay, and then for the mesothelium, so you can see here, this is a single layer of the squamous epithelial cell. Okay, epithelium, and the wall it form the wall and cover the content of closed body cavity. Okay, mesothelium. For example, we have the abdominal cavity, we have the pericardial cavity, and also the pleural cavity. Okay, just now we have discussed on simple squamous epithelium. Now we're going to proceed with the simple cuboidal epithelium. For the simple cuboidal epithelium, it lines the small duct and also the tubule that may have excretory, secretory, or absorptive functions. So they have these three main functions. Okay. So you can see here, this is the simple cuboidal epithelium. It is a square shape, single layer, okay, with the basement membrane, okay, at the bottom part here. Okay, example, the area that you can find the simple cuboidal epithelium is the collecting tubule of the kidney, okay, and also the excretory duct of the salivary ducts and also the pancreas. Okay, for the simple columnar epithelium, so you can see here, the cell is tall and rectangular in shapes, okay. The height is vary from low to tall columnar, okay. So they have a different height, sometimes low columnar, okay, until to the tall columnar. And the nuclei is elongated, so you can see the nuclei is elongated. Okay, and it located toward, sometimes located toward the base. Okay, in the middle, in the center, or maybe at the apex here. Okay, so there is actually give contribution to the polarity of the nucleus. Uh, the simple columnar epithelium, it can be found in the absorptive surface, shares us in the small intestine. So we can find the simple columnar epithelium in the small intestine, or secretory, as in the stomach. Okay, here in the intestine, more in the absorptive function, but in this for the secretion in the stomach. Okay, now we're going to proceed with the stratified epithelium. Okay, the first one is stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, squamous. So you can see here the cell surface is a flattened shape. Okay, the stratified squamous epithelium, it consists of variable number of cell layer. So they have a multiple number of cell layer that exhibit a different level of maturation. Okay, and the cuboidal cells dividing. So you can see here the cuboidal cell here is dividing, and it will shed off. It will shed off at the flattened surface layer here. Okay, and it will be removed or shed off at the flattened surface layer. Whenever it death, the cell is going apoptosis or death, it will be removed at the surface. And the stratified squamous epithelium, it adapted. It can sustain. It can withstand the abrasions. So you can see our skin, right? It can withstand the abrasion. If you try to stretch our skin, it can withstand or sustain, okay, the abrasions. Okay. This is the area that you can find the stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, for example, here skin, definitely this skin is actually exposed to the abrasion. The oral cavity exposed to abrasion because of you always put foods inside your oral, right, on your in your oral cavity, pharynx, the esophagus, okay, the anal canal, uterine cervix, and also the vagina. Okay, this is the area that you can find the stratified squamous epithelium. This is the area that also where the abrasions usually happen. Okay. Okay. For the apical surface specializations, okay, sometimes you can have a specialization that happen uh, that presents at the apical cell surface. Okay. Mm. This modification can be added to the classification. Okay, whether there is a presence of the cilia. So if you see here, there is a cilia present on the apical surface. Example here, we have the pseudo-stratified columnar ciliated epithelium. And then also there is some time of the presence of the keratin. Okay, you can see here, this is the keratin layer. Example, we have the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium, okay, for the skin. Okay. Okay, for the pseudo-stratified columnar ciliated epithelium, this is the special one. Okay, special epithelium. Actually, the pseudo-stratified columnar ciliated epithelium, it is a true simple epithelium. It's a true simple epithelium, meaning that it only has single layer, one layer. Okay, because why it has a single layer? Because you can see that all cells are rest on the basement membrane. Okay, pseudo mean here is false. False mean we because of the due to the nuclei here is located at the different level, so it appear like more than one layer. It look like this epithelium is stratified. Okay, more than one layer. Okay, pseudo mean false. Okay, and this pseudo stratified columnar ciliated epithelium, it is exclusively confined to the airway of the respiratory tract. So you can only found this type of epithelium in the respiratory tract, okay, that form the respiratory epithelium. So you can see that we have the cilia on the apical surface, okay, apical domain. Okay, and then this is the bottom part, the basement membrane. Okay, so you can see here, it looks like they have a multiple layer, but somehow actually it only has a single layer because of due to the level of the nuclei here is at a different level. Okay. And then the second special type of epithelium is a transitional epithelium. Okay. So you can see here, this is the transitional epithelium. It is form of stratified epithelium. So it means that this type of epithelium it has a multiple layer that can only be found in the urinary tract. Okay, urinary tract. Okay, you cannot find this type of epithelium in other places. It only can be found in the urinary tract. It is specialized to accommodate stretch, so mean that this type of epithelium can stretch, okay, and also to withstand the toxicity of the urine. So you know that the urine is contain the toxic material. So this one can sustain or withstand the toxicity of the urine. Why? This type of epithelium is known as a transitional epithelium because it has intermediate features or transitionals, okay, transitions between the stratified cuboidal to the stratified squamous epithelium. Okay, this is the transitional part. You can see here we have two phase, okay, in the non-distended state and also the stretched state. Okay, during the non-distended state, usually the transitional epithelium will appear to have a 4 to 5 layer thicks. So you can see here, this is the non-distended state. Usually it appears as a 4 to 5 layer cell thick. And the basal cells here is a cuboidal shapes. Okay, and the intermediate here, intermediate cell is a polygonal. Polygonal means it has a different shape or multiple shape. And the surface cell here is large, oh, definitely is very large and rounded. Umbrella or dome shape. So you can see here is a dome shape. And during the stretch state, usually the transitional epitheliums, it appear as a two to three layer thick. And the intermediate layer and also the cell surface here will become flattened. Okay. So mean that they have a two transitionals, mean that it can change their shapes. Okay. Okay, now we're going to proceed with the cell polarity. Just now, in early part of this lecture, I mentioned that it has three polar, right? Okay. So you can see here we have the apical domain, apical on the apical surface, and then we have the lateral domain here and the basal domain. Okay. The apical domain is a free domain, okay, that directed toward the exterior surface, or maybe toward the lumen. Okay. For the apical domain, there are three surface modifications that we're going to discuss later, which is the microvilli. There is a presence of microvilli, or stereocilia, or maybe a cilia. For the lateral domain, it communicates with the adjacent cell by a specialized attachment area. So they are the area that they're having a specialized attachment. Okay, and this attachment actually it provides a cell junctions. Okay, where we have a three type of the junction here. We have the occluding junction, we have the anchoring junctions, and also the communicating junctions. Okay, and then at the base here we have the basal domain, and the basal domain it rests on the basal lamina, which anchor to underlying connective tissue. Okay, underlying connective tissue is beneath here, and there are two structures that are important here. We have the basement membrane and also the hemidesmosome. Okay, now we're going to focus on the first part, which is the surface modification. We're going to discuss on these three components: microvilli, stereocilia, and also the cilia. Okay, for the microvilli, so this is the microvilli. It is a short, okay, finger-like projections of the plasma membrane. The plasma membrane is being projected. Okay, the length is about 0.5 to 1 micrometer in length. If you see, you can see here, we try to cut. Okay, try to cut the microvilli and open up the microvilli. Okay, the core here, inside there, we have the actin microfilament. Actin filament. So you can see here, it's a thread-like structure here. One line here is an actin microfilament. So what is the function of the microvilli? It increases the surface area for the cell. Increase the surface area of cell for the absorptions. Okay, it's mainly to increase the surface area. Okay, for absorptions. Usually, under the light microscope, it will appear as a dense cluster of hmm, dense cluster of the dense cluster of microvilli. It will appear as a brush border. Okay, the dense cluster of microvilli will be appear as a brush border or striated border. Okay, So under the microscope, you can see there is it will appear as a brush border or striated border. Okay, that is regarding the microvilli. And then now we're going to proceed with the next one, which is the stereocilia. Okay, so from this picture, you can see the stereocilia. It is actually is a extremely long projections of the cell membrane. Okay, it's very long compared to the microvilli just now. And whenever you cut this stereocilia and looking at the internal component that we have in the stereocilia, it contains the actin microfilament. So you can see here, this is the line here is actually is a actin microfilament, actin microfilament, which similar to the microvilli. This stereocilia is immotile, is not moving, now, and not only cannot move, but it has a branch here. You can see here there is a connection here, branch. What is the function of the stereocilia? So it increases the cell surface area, and it also facilitates the movement of the molecule into and out of the cell. So there is the function of the stereocilia that we have to know. And then now we're going to proceed with the cilia. So by looking at this picture, you can see the cilia is a cylindrical projection of the cell membrane, which is longer than microvilli. Okay, you can see this, the length here is about 5 to 10 micrometer in length. The special about the cilia, it contains, whenever you cut the stereocilia, okay, like this, so you can see here, it contains nine pairs of the central microtubule and 2 central microtubule. Okay. Okay, 9 pair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, there are 9 pairs of the microtubule here. 9 pair. And we have the 2 central microtubule. So 9 plus 2 pattern. Okay. And each cilium, okay, each cilium is a singular form of the cilia. Cilia is plural. Each cilium is inserted into the basal body. So if you see here, this is the plasma membrane. Okay, so this is the basal body. So it is inserted into the basal body, and the basal body, okay, is located below the plasma, below the cell membrane. So the special about the cilia here, it is moving, motile, can move the material along the cell surface. Okay, for the distribution, okay, where you can find this, all this special form of the apical surface. Okay, the microvilli, stereocilia, and cilia. Okay, for the microvilli, it can be found in the gastrointestinal tract, in the small intestine, and also in the urinary tract, in the proximal tubule cell in the kidney. Because you know the gastrointestinal tract, right, involved in the absorptions. So the microvilli is the function is to increase the cell surface, okay, for the absorptions. Okay, for the stereocilia, it can be found in the male reproductive tract, in the epididymis, proximal part of the ductus deferens, and also the hair cell of the ear. This is the area that you can find the stereocilia. For the cilia, it can be found in the respiratory tract, okay, part of the pseudocertified columnar sedated epithelium, and also in the female reproductive tract, the fallopian tube, because you know that the cilia here, it is motile, so it sweep in the respiratory tract, it sweep the foreign material that inhale into that going into the respiratory tract. In the fallopian tube, this cilia is important in the movement of the ovum, okay, toward the uterine cavity. Okay, now we're going to discuss on the lateral part, the lateral domain. Here we are focusing on these 3 junctions, okay, the 3 cell junction, the occluding junction, anchoring junctions, and also the communicating junctions. Okay, just now that I mentioned earlier that we have 3 functional types of the cell junctions. We have the occluding junctions, we have the anchoring junctions, we have the communicating junctions. For the occluding junction, we have the zonular occludens. So you can see here, the brown color structure here is belong to the zonular occludens. And then the second one is anchoring junction. We have the zonular adherens. So the yellow color structure here is zonular adherens. It's located below the zonular occludens. And then we also have the desmosome, okay, or macular adherens. Okay, you can see here, this is the macular adherens. That located below the zonular adherens. And then we have the communicating junction or gap or nexus. This is the gap junctions. The green color structure here. Okay, we start to discuss on the occluding junction first, tight junctions. The occluding junction, also known as a zonular occludence. Okay, the cell membrane, so you can see here, this is the cell membrane. The cell membrane of adjoining cell is come close in contact to each other. So it seal off the intercellular space between the cell. So you can see here, there are no space between the intercellular, between the cell, okay, because of this tight junction, okay. So this clinical junction, it's located immediately beneath the luminous surface. Above here, we have the lumen. So this tight junction is located below the luminous surface. Why this tight junction is very important? Because it blocks the passage of molecule. Okay, because there is absence of the intercellular space here, so the molecule cannot go into the between the cell. And in this occluding junction, it forms a continuous circumferential band of the transmembrane protein around the cell. So it forms a sealing strand, seal off. Okay, so the the molecule cannot pass into the between the cell. Okay, so you can see here, this is the sealing strand. Okay, next one is anchoring junctions. So you can see here, this is the anchoring junction. The anchoring junction is give epithelium strength by linking the cytoskeleton of the cell. So you can see here, it linking the cytoskeleton of the cell. Okay, it linking the cytoskeleton of the cell. This is the anchoring protein. Okay, it forms a continuous band. For the zonular adherence here, this is the zonular adherence. It forms a continuous band around the cell just deep to the zonular occlusion. Means that above here we have the zonular occlusion. Okay, this is the zonular adherence. Okay, and this zonular adherence, it forms a contractile circumferential band near the apical surface. Okay, and then the next one is a desmosome, which also belong to the anchoring junctions. Okay, this is the desmosome. Okay, it link the intermediate filament. So you can see here the intermediate filament. It link the intermediate filament. Okay, and it form a strong structural framework for the entire epithelium. So you can see here, this is the intermediate filament. Okay, by having this anchoring junction, it form a structural framework for the entire epithelium. Okay, and this desmosome or macular adherens can be found circumferentially arranged around the columnar epithelial cell, which is deep to the zonular adherens. Okay, from okay, we try to recap back what I have mentioned just now. Above, we have the zonular occludence, and then zonular adherence, and then later we have the macular adherence. Okay, based on the arrangement. Okay, and this macular adherence is also widely scattered elsewhere in the epithelial intercellular interface. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, this is the desmosome. This is the transmembrane protein. Okay, and the next one is communicating junction. Okay, these communicating junctions, also known as a gap or nexus junctions. Okay, this communicating junction is consists of transmembrane channel, so it forms a channel. So you can see here, it's form a channel. Okay, and this channel is known as a connexon. Okay, connexon. And this connection, it allow ion or small molecule to pass between the adjacent cell. So the ion can move from here to here. Okay, and that's why by having these communication junctions, it allows cell-to-cell communication, especially the chemical messenger in embryonic epithelia and also passage of the nutrient. So you can see here, this is the connexon. Okay, and inside there we have the channel. So it can close, it can open. Okay, now just to recap back what I have mentioned earlier, the tight junctions or zonular occlusion is located above here. Okay, based on the arrangement above here, and then we have the zonular adherence. Okay, and then we have the sorry, we have the desmosome here. D is desmosome, and then we have the communicating junction. CJ is communicating junctions. Okay, and here below here we have the hemidesmosome. Okay, now we're going to discuss on the basal domain. The basal domain, it rests on the basal lamina and rests on basal lamina that adhere to the underlying connective tissue. We are only interested with these two components, the basement membrane and also the hemidesmosome. Okay, what is the basement membrane? Okay, this is the basement membrane. The basement membrane is a non-cellular structure. It's a not a cellular structure. Okay, that an interface between the epithelium. Above here we have the epithelium, and down here we have the underlying supporting tissue. Okay, so what is the function of the basement membrane? It provides a structural support. So you can see here it provides a structural support, and also constitute a selective barrier to the passage of the material. Okay, so mean that the material is not simply going from here to here. Okay, a selective barrier. It forms a selective barrier. And then down here we have the hemidesmosome. You can see here this is the hemidesmosome. What is the function of the hemidesmosome? Okay, hemidesmosome is a variant. Okay, oh sorry, this one. This is the hemidesmosome. Sorry, this is the hemidesmosome. This is the transmembrane protein. Okay, okay. The hemidesmosome is a variant of desmosome. Okay, that bind the base of the cell to the underlying basement membrane. Okay, so you can see here it bind. Okay, so this is the transmembrane protein. So this is the hemidesmosome. It bind the base of the cell to the underlying basement membrane. So you can see here it bind toward the basement membrane. Okay, this is the transmembrane protein that connects between the hemidesmosome and also the basement membrane. Okay. Okay, now we have two terms that you have to know here, and you need to differentiate between the what is the basal lamina, what is the basement membrane. Okay, for the basal lamina, it is an electron microscopic term. For the basement membrane, it is a light microscopic term. So mean that you can see the basement membrane under the light microscopic. Basal lamina only can be seen under the electron microscope. Okay. So the basal lamina, it is consists of layer or sheet of the extracellular material. Okay, this extracellular material can be a collagen, glycoprotein that's secreted by the epithelial cell itself. The function of this layer is separating the epithelial cell from the underlying connective tissue. For the basement membrane, it is a thicker layer. That's why you can see under the light microscope. This thicker layer it separates the epithelial cell from the underlying connective tissue. And this basement membrane it is formed by the association or combinations of two basal lamina. So mean that two basal lamina here joined together with the reticular lamina, and later it will form the basement membrane. Reticular lamina actually is a layer of reticular fiber that formed by the connective tissue. Okay, that is the difference between the basement membrane and basal lamina. Okay. Basement membrane actually is formed by the two basal lamina with the reticular lamina. Okay, now we're going to proceed with the gland. Okay, for the gland, it is formed by the epithelial cell that specialize to produce secretion. Okay, so mean that here the epithelium that form the gland. Okay, and this epithelium is specialized to produce secretion. Okay. There are two major groups of gland that we have. We have the exocrine gland, we have the endocrine gland. For the exocrine gland, okay, it's further divided into two types. Whether it is a unicellular or only has one cell or multicellular, meaning that more than one cell. Unicellular here, example is goblet cell. The multicellular, it has the two components, secretory and also the ductal portion. Okay, so you can see here, this is the exocrine secretion, okay, by the exocrine gland. Okay, exocrine secretion. We have the type secretion. We have the merocrine, we have the apocrine, we have the holocrine, and then this is the endocrine secretions. Usually, it is the material will be secreted directly into the blood vessels. Okay, for the exocrine gland, So this is the table just to show you the difference between the exocrine gland and also the okay. This table is to show you the difference between the exocrine gland and also the endocrine exocrine gland and also the endocrine gland. For the exocrine gland, the secretory products it is secreted onto the surface, or maybe the secretory product is secreted onto the ductal system. But for the endocrine gland, it does not have a duct. It does not have the duct. And for the exocrine gland, it can be either unicellular, only has a single cell, or multicellular, mean that they have a multiple cell. And for the exocrine gland, the mechanism of secretion, it can be a merocrine, apocrine, or holocrine. And the type of secretion, there are two types of secretion here, the mucus or can be a serous. But for the endocrine gland, it is highly vascularized structure. And the secretory product will be entered into the bloodstream. So that's why this endocrine gland is highly vascularized structure, because it dependent on the vessels. Okay, for the its product to be secreted into the bloodstream. Okay, and the secretion here is the hormone. Okay, and it forms the endocrine system. Okay, how are we going to classify the gland? This is how we're going to classify the gland. So just now, I have mentioned the gland itself is divided into two types, the exocrine gland and also the endocrine gland. But here we only focus more on the exocrine gland. Okay, the exocrine gland, it is divided into the unicellular and also the multicellular. For the multicellular, so is further divided based on these three classification, based on the morphological structure, based on the mechanism of actions, and also based on the type of secretion. For the type of secretion, can be a serous or mucus. Mechanism of action, merocrine, apocrine, and holocrine. And morphological structure can be a tubular, acina, compound, and also the simple. Okay. Just now, in the early part of my presentation, I have mentioned that the exocrine gland, it secrete their product onto the surface directly, or maybe through the epithelial duct. Okay, it initially it secreted the product into the duct first, the duct or tube. That later this duct will be connected to the surface. And the classification of the exocrine gland is based on the number of cells. Can be a unicellular or multicellular. I have mentioned earlier. Okay, morphological structure, tubular, acina, simple or compound, or mechanism of action, merocrine, apocrine, and holocrine. And also based on the type of secretion, mucus or serous. Okay, start to discuss on the unicellular. Unicellular, usually the unicellular is only one, we have only one type of cell, the goblet cell. Okay, this is the goblet cell. You can see here, okay, the pinkish cell here, okay, round color, round shaped cell. Okay, it is a modified columnar epithelial cell. Okay, modified form of the epithelial columnar cell. And this goblet cell, it secrete mucus. It secrete mucus into the surface. And it is scattered. You can see here, it is scattered here, scattered among the simple epithelial lining, part of the respiratory. It can be found in the respiratory tract and also in the gastrointestinal tract. Okay. Okay. Unicellular, only one cell now. Okay. And for the multicellular gland, it is composed of more than one cell. Okay. And for the multicellular, it has two components, the ductal component, the duct, and also the secretory component, the part that secrete the material. Okay. And further subdivision for the ductal system, okay, this is the further subdivision for the ductal system. It can be a branch, the compound gland. It can be unbranched, which is a simple one. This is the classification at the the ductal system. And based on the secretory component, can be a tubular or acini. Okay, and both type of secretory component may be a coil or maybe branch. Okay, and combination of the duct and secretory component. Okay, so this classification usually based on the combination of the duct and also the secretory component. Okay, you can see here, this is the example of the multicellular exocrine gland. Okay, we have salivary gland. Okay, we have the gland, okay, the presence, the gland that present in the skin, sweat gland, and also the sebaceous gland. Okay, we have the gland that also present in the stomach. We have the mammary gland. Okay, the breast. Okay, the other gland. Okay, we're going to discuss further later. Okay, for the multicellular gland, just now I have mentioned earlier that I have mentioned in early part of my lecture, it has a multicellular gland. It has two parts: the secretory portion that produce the secretory product, and also the ductal portion for transport of the secretory product. Okay, you can see here, this is the ductal portion. This is the secretory portion. This part, it transport the material. This part, it produce and secrete the material. Okay. This is the example of the classification of the intercellular, this is a classification of multicellular gland. Okay, sorry, multicellular. We have the simple tubula. So you can see here, simple tubula in the form of the tubular shape. Simple means it's not branch. Okay, and then we have the simple means it's not branch, and tubular, coil and tubular. And then we have the simple mean that at the ductal portion is not branch, but here at the security portion it's branch. Okay, and it is a tubular in shape, simple branch tubular. And then simple branch acina. So you can see here at the security portion it is a acina in shape. Okay, or like a circular in shape lah, acina form. Okay, simple here you can see here at the tubular portion it is a not branch. Okay, and then we have compound. Okay, compound tubular acina. Compound mean that at the tubular portion here it is branch. So you can see it has a branch at the tubular portions. Okay, the pinkish in color. And then at the security portions here, you can have two components, the acina component and also the tubular. Okay, and then we have the compound tubular, only a tubule. So we don't have acina. We have a tubule at the secretory portion here. Okay, compound tubular, and then we have the compound acina, only acinus at the secretory portion. That is how we divide. Okay. Okay, we start to discuss one by one. The simple tubular gland. The simple tubular gland, it can be found in the large intestine. Okay, you can see here. This is a simple tubular gland. This is the tubular portion, the secretory portion. Okay. They can be found in the large intestine. Intestinal gland, example here, the intestinal gland of the lubricant. Okay, the intestinal gland of the lubricant. Okay, with the big capital letter L. Okay. It is a single straight tubular lumen. Okay. So there is a presence of the secretory cell here. Okay. And then we have the simple coil tubular gland. Example here is sweat gland. Okay. Usually the simple coil tubular gland, it has a single tube and coil. Okay. And then they have a terminal here. We have the terminal secretory portion, and also the excretory duct. Okay. So it coil. Simple means it doesn't have a branch, and then coil and tubular. Tubule in the form of tubular in shape. And then we have the simple branch tubular gland. You can see here at the ductal portion here, simple, does not have branch, but when it comes to the secretory portion, it branch. Okay, here it is tubular in shape. Okay, secretory portion. So it can be found mainly in the stomach. Okay, mucus secreting gland of the pyloric part. and several tubular secretory portion. So you can see here, there is a several tubular secretory portion, the secretory part. Okay, that this secretory part will converge into a single duct here. Okay, converge into a single duct. And the compound branch tubular gland. So compound here means that the tubular part also branch. Okay, and the secretory part also branch, and it is you see here, it is a cubular in shape at the secretory portion here. An example here is a Brunner's gland of the duodenum. Okay, the duct system and the tubular secretory portion are branch. Okay, ductal system and tubular secretory portion are both are branch. Okay. Okay, how about the simple acina gland? So you can see here, simple acina gland, it does not have branch, and the secretory portion, it is a acinas in shape, circular in shapes. Okay, where you can find this simple acina gland, it can be found in the mucus secreting gland of the penile urethra. So it is rounded lah, secretory unit. Form a pocket in the epithelial surface. Okay, and then we have the simple branch acina gland. Okay, and the ductal portion here does not have a branch, but we come to the secretory portion. It is a branch. Okay, and then secretory portion also is a circular in shape. Okay, rounded in shape, acinus. Okay, so several acini secreted into a single duct. Several acini will be secreted into a single duct. Okay, for the compound acina gland. So you can see here, secretory portion is acinus in shape, and the ductal portion is branch. Okay, compound. It can be found in the pancreas. Okay, secretory unit are acina, drain into the branch ductal system. Okay, and for the compound tubular acina gland, so mean that a combination of the tubular and acinus at the secretory portion here. An example here in the submandibular gland, three type of secretory unit. Okay, we have the branch tubular, branch acina, and branch tubular with the acina and piece or diminuents. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to discuss on the compound gland. Compound gland. Okay. The compound gland, it is surrounded by the connective tissue. Okay, because of the huge gland itself, it is surrounded by the connective tissue capsule, which this tissue capsule will send into the septum inside the gland. Whenever it send a tissue septum, it divide the gland into a unit called lobes. Okay, and this lobe will further subdivided into a smaller unit called lobule. Okay, so mean that lobule is located inside the one bigger lobe, and it also have a special ductal system because of the huge size here. It has a special ductal system. Secretory unit is the secretory unit will be go into the intralobular duct first. And the combination of the intralobular duct will form the interlobular duct. So mean this the duct located in between the lobule. And then combination of our interlobular duct will form the bigger size duct here, intralobular duct or lobar. So you can see here, this is the lobule, the individual lobule. Okay, this is the connective tissue capsule. This is the lobe. Okay, the lobe. So you can see here, this is the intralobular duct. Intralobular duct. The duct is located inside the lobule. And then we have the interlobular duct located in between the lobule. And then we have the lobar duct, the bigger size. Intralobular duct, it is a cuboidal to columnar epithelium. Interlobular duct, it is consists of pseudo-stratified columnar epithelium. And for the lobar duct, it is formed by the columnar stratified epithelium. So the cell here is stratified. And then we have the acinus here. So you can see this is the secretory portion, the acinus. Acinus in shape. And then the smaller duct here, located inside the lobule, we have the intercalated duct. Usually the intercalated duct, it is lined by the squamous epithelium. Okay? And we also have the striated duct, which is the bigger size duct. Okay? The cuboidal, it is lined by the cuboidal to columnar epithelium. Okay, this is the this is the lobule. Okay, this is the lobe. Okay, so you can see here, this is the intralobular duct, and this is the interlobular duct. Okay, interlobular duct. Okay, the interlobular duct is bigger in size compared to the intralobular duct. Intralobular duct is duct within the lobule. Okay, lobule. So you can see here, this is lobule. Interlobular duct is located between the lobule. Okay, so this is the you can see here, this is the lobule. Okay, this is the lobule. Okay. Okay, for the mechanism of secretion, based on the mechanism of secretion, it is it is divided in the exocrine gland is divided into a merocrine secretion, apocrine secretion, and holocrine secretion. For the merocrine secretion, the secretory product is released by the process of the exocytosis. Usually, how it is happened, the secretory granule or vesicle are delivered to the apical surface. So if you see from this picture, the vesicle is transported to the are delivered to the apical surface. And this vesicle will be fused with the plasma membrane, okay, the cell membrane. And later it will release the content. So you can see here, later it will release the content. Okay, most common type here, you can find this type of merocrine secretion in the pancreatic exocrine gland and also the gastrointestinal gland. For the apocrine secretion, the release of the secretory product involve a partial loss. So the part of the cell here will be lost. Okay, partial loss of the apical portion of the cell. Example here, the mammary gland, the ciliary gland of the eyelid. The holocrine secretion, the secretory product consists of the entire cell and its content, meaning that this cell will be burst. Okay, so example here is the sebaceous gland. Okay, so you can see here the secretory vesicle approach the apical domain of the epithelial cell, and the vesicle here will be fused with the plasma membrane and release its content into the extracellular space. Okay, and you can see here, this is the for the apocrine secretion, this is the merocrine, this is the apocrine. So the some of the apical cytoplasm will be pinch off lah, with the contents secretions. And holocrine, the cell produce and accumulate a secretory product in the cytoplasm. Okay, so, for example, in the sebaceous gland, and this part will be disintegrated lah. Okay, burst. Okay, the cell will be burst. Okay, the cell will be burst. Okay, based on the type of secretory product, we have the serous gland, we have the mucous gland, we have the mixed gland. Okay, for the serous gland, the secretions are watery, and it is rich in the protein, usually enzyme. Okay, under the H&E staining, it appears as a dark cytoplasm. For the mucous gland, the secretion is viscous and slimy, and the mucous gland, mucous secretion, it is rich in the glycoprotein. And under the H&E staining, it appears as a pale cytoplasm, it is appear as having pale cytoplasm. For the mixed gland, it contains both combination of the serous and also the mucous substance. So it contains both combination of these two. Okay. Under the H&E staining, so we have a mixture of these two types, and we also can find a serous demilins. Okay. For the serous secreting gland, the cell are polyhedral or pyramidal in shape. If you enlarge this picture, you can see the cell, individual cell is a pyramidal in shape. The nucleus is round in shape. Okay, the nucleus is round or oval in shape, and usually is located at the basal portion. At the basal region, also there is rich in the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, and at the apical portion, apical region, it contains the abundance of the secretory granules that ready to be released. Okay, this granule is known as a zymogen granule. Under the staining, H&E staining, this is the H&E staining, so it appears as a dark pink violet color. So you can see here darker, right? Darker color. Example here is pancreatic gland and also the pancreatic exocrine gland. Okay, you can see here when you differentiate this picture to this picture, okay, you can see it's very obvious the difference between that picture and this picture. The nucleus usually flat, so you can see here the nucleus usually flat, okay, and located at the base. The apical portion here is filled with the secretory granule. Under the H&E staining, the cytoplasm appear as empty. Okay, the cytoplasm appear as empty. That's why it's a pale in color. It's like a foamy, because the mucinogen granule are water soluble. Okay, the mucinogen is water soluble. It will be lost during the tissue preparations. The example here is the sublingual gland and also the surface cell of the stomach. And mixed type of glands. You can see here we have two components here, the mucus acini and also the serous acini. Okay, the darker portion is serous acini. The lighter portion here is mucus acini. So it contains both serous and also mucus substance. Example here is the submandibular glands. That we're having a mixed type of gland, but mostly the serous lah. Mostly serous in human. You can see here dominated by the serous. Some mucus acini is kept by the serous dominant. So you can see here, this is a serous dominant. Okay, mucus acini, this one is kept by the serous one. Okay, serous dominant. It's a crescent in shape. Okay, for the endocrine gland, each cluster or cord of cell of the endocrine cell, okay, is surrounded by the basement membrane. Supporting or connective tissue contain a rich capillary network. So you can see here, they are having a rich capillary network. And the secretory product will be goes into the intercellular space and later will go into the bloodstream. So that's why it dependent on with this capillary network. Okay. The endocrine secretion is known as hormone. Okay. Okay. The material that being secreted is known as a hormone. Okay. Usually the hormone it act at a distant from their sources. Okay. And it form part of the major regulatory system in the body that known as a endocrine system. So you can see here we have a different number of the endocrine gland that we have in the body. We have the pituitary gland, we have the hypothalamus, pineal gland, we have the parietal gland, thyroid gland, adrenal gland, and then we also have the pancreas. Okay, in the pancreas we have the islet of Langerhans cell. Okay, that secreted the insulin, and also in the ovaries and also the testes. Okay, just now we have discussed on the epithelium and also the gland. Now we're going to proceed with the skin and its appendages. Okay, skin. The skin, it forms the external covering of the body. Okay, it forms the external covering of the body. So the most important thing about the skin, it is the largest organ of the body. It's part of the organ actually. It is the largest organ of the body. And the skin, it has two layers. So you can see here, it has the epidermis and the dermis. The dermis is located beneath the epidermis. Okay, this is the dermis. The epidermis is the superficial layer. It is the epithelial layer. It's made up of epithelial tissue. Okay, the dermis here beneath the epidermis, okay, is a deeper layer. It is a layer of connective tissue. Okay, a layer of connective tissue. And below the dermis, we have the hypodermis. Okay, it is not part of the skin. Okay, please remember hypodermis is not part of the skin. Okay, so the epidermis, it is just now I mentioned that it is made up of the epithelial tissue. This epidermis, we have the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. It is a special form of the epithelium. It contains the keratin, okay, and it is a squamous type. Okay, there are four types of cell that are present in the epidermis. Okay, we have the keratinocyte. Okay, we have the keratinocyte. We have the melanocyte. We have the Meckel cells, and then we also have the Langerhans cell. So there are four types of cells that present in the epidermis. Okay. Okay, for the keratinocyte, it is a keratin producing cell, meaning that the cell is producing keratin. It is the most abundant cell type in the epidermis, okay, compared to the remaining three cell. The keratinocyte is most abundant type of cell that present in the epidermis. Epidermis consists of 5 layers of the keratinocyte, in thick skin, but only 4 layers in thin skin. Okay, please remember this fact. This fact is very important. The layers are, okay, this is the layers, from the deepest to the most superficial. From the deepest layer is the stratum basal, or the other name for the stratum basal is stratum germinativum. And then we have the stratum spinosum, stratum granulosa, stratum lucidum. This stratum lucidum only present in thick skin. Okay, and then the most superficial layer is stratum corneum. Okay, So you can see here, these are the 5 layers of the epidermis. We have the stratum germinativum, stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum, stratum lucidum, and stratum corneum. Okay, for the stratum basal or stratum germinativum, it is consists of a single layer of cell. So you can see here only a single layer of cell. It actually is part of the basal cell. Okay, basal cell. Usually the cell is rest on the basal lamina. So down here we have the basal lamina. Okay, this cell will divide, undergo mitosis. It will divide and undergo mitosis. This neokeratinocyte, whenever it divides, it will form the neokeratinocyte that will differentiate, that will mature and migrate upward. And this neokeratinocyte will migrate upward. Later will be sloughed off at the skin surface. Okay, and the keratinocyte here is synthesized keratin filament. Okay, or tonofilament. Okay, you can see here, this is the stratum basal. Down here, we have the dermis. And then for the stratum spinosum, it consists of several layers of cell, and it also produces keratin filament. Okay, that's why the cytoplasm of the keratinocyte in the stratum spinosum contain a lot of keratin filament or tonofilament. The special about this cell, the keratinocyte in this layer, okay, it has a lot of cytoplasmic process. So you can see here, this is the cytoplasmic process. It's a finger-like projection, spine. Okay. And then the third layer is a stratum granulosum. So you can see here, this is the stratum granulosum. It consists of 3 to 5 layers of cell. Okay. And the cell here, it contains the basophilic granule. That's why it is a bluish in color. Okay. The basophilic granules here is also known as a keratohyalin granule. This cell will undergo changes before it becomes cell of the stratum corneum. These are the following changes that will happen. There is increase in the amount of keratin filament, okay, and the breakdown of organelle and also the nucleus. And there will be a thickening of the plasma membrane. So these are the several changes that happen. Okay. And then for the stratum lucidum, okay, you can see here, this is the stratum lucidum. Okay. Usually only present in the thick skin. In the thin skin, you cannot find the stratum lucidum. It is a thin layer, okay, clear color, like this 10 layer of cell. Okay, you can see compared to the remaining part of the layer, it is like this 10. Okay, and it is composed of flattened and dead keratinocyte. So mean that the cell here is already dead. Okay, there are no organelle present, no nuclei present, and the cell also contain keratin filament. And then the last layer, the final layer, is stratum corneum. It is a more superficial layer of the epidermis. Consists of the numerous layer of flat keratin containing dead cell. The eosinophilic cells, usually it appear as a pinkish in color, eosinophilic. The cytoplasm it will fill with the keratin filament. There is no nucleus, no cytoplasmic organelle present within the cell because the cell is already dead. And it also has thick plasma membrane. Okay, the keratinocyte in the stratum corneum is continuously the cell are continuously sloughed off. The cell here will be sloughed off at the surface of the stratum corneum. Okay, will be sloughed off, and this cremated cell are continually replaced. Okay, it will be continually replaced by new cell that form in the stratum basal. Okay, so you can see here this is the thin skin, this is the thick skin. So you can see the thin skin, it has 4 layers. Okay, with the absence of the stratum lucidum. But in the thick skin, we have 5 layers. There is a presence of the stratum lucidum in the thick skin. Okay, the second type of cell that present in the epidermis is melanocyte. Okay, the melanocyte here, it is located at the stratum basals. Okay, it also present in the hair follicle. So the function of melanocyte, it produce and transfer the melanin pigment into the adjacent keratinocyte via the long process here. So you can see here, this is the long process where it allows the transfer of the melanin pigment. So the function of the melanin pigment here is to protect cell nuclei from the damaging effects of the ultraviolet radiations of the sun. So you can see here, this is the melanin containing basal cell. And then the Meckel cell. This is the Meckel cell. The Meckel cell is located at the stratum basal. Okay. At the base of the macro cell, we have the free nerve ending. This is the free nerve ending or neuron. And the macro cells plus neuron here form a macro corpuscle. The function here is for detecting. The function is it is for the purpose of touch receptor. It detecting a touch sensation. And then the last one is Langerhans cell. It is located in the stratum spinosum. And the Langerhans cell is part of the mononuclear phagocyte system. It's part of the protective, uh, protective mechanism of the body. Okay. They are antigen presenting cell. Okay. Usually it phagocytose. It will engulf phagocytose antigen that enter the skin. And this Langerhans cell will migrate to the lymph node and present the antigen to the lymphocyte. Okay. It is moving. Okay. Okay. Uh, Usually they will alert the immune system when they detect the antigen. Okay. Okay. So you can see here, this is the Langerhans cell. This is the macro cell. This is the melanocyte, and this is the keratinocyte. Okay, now we're going to go to the next level, which is the dermis. Okay, you can see here, this is the epidermis. This is the dermis. Okay, it is made up of connective tissue. Okay, so these are the content of the dermis. We have the collagen fiber, elastic fiber, ground substance, connective tissue cell, blood vessels, and also the nerve ending. So you can see here we have the blood vessels in the dermis. So the dermis it has two layers, the papillary layer and also the reticular layer. Okay, for the papillary layer, it is a more superficial and thinner layer of dermis. So you can see here, this is the papillary layer. Okay, more superficial and thinner compared to the reticular layer. Okay, it is made up of areolar connective tissue. Okay, it contains more connective tissue cell, less collagen fiber, thin collagen fiber, thin elastic fiber, more ground substance, and it has a mesenteric corpuscle that sense a touch. And then we have the dermal papilla. Okay, this is the dermal papilla. The interdigitate between the epidermal ridge. This is the epidermal ridge. Okay. For the reticular layer, it lies deep to the papillary layer. It is a thicker layer. Okay, thicker layer compared to the papillary layer. Okay, it is composed of dense irregular connective tissue. You can see here, this is the dense irregular connective tissue. Irregular, right? Okay. Very dense. And usually for the reticular layer, it contains less connective tissue cell compared to the papillary layer. More collagen fiber compared to the papillary layer. Thick collagen fiber, thick elastic fiber, and it has two type corpuscle, Pacinic corpuscle and Ruffinic corpuscle. This Pacinic corpuscle, it sense pressure, it detect pressure, and Ruffinic corpuscle, it detect a stretching. Okay, for the hypodermis, this is the hypodermis. The hypodermis is also known as a subcutaneous tissue, or subcutaneous fascia, or superficial fascia. It lies beneath the dermis. Okay, it's not part of the skin. Okay, it is made up of areolar connective tissue, and it also contains a adipose tissue. You can see here, this is adipose tissue. So the function of the hypodermis is to bind skin loosely to the tissue underneath. The tissue underneath here is the muscle. Okay, bind skin here to tissue underneath. And now I'm going to proceed to discuss on the skin appendages. Okay, there are 5 skin appendages that present. We have the hair follicle, sebaceous gland, eccrine sweat gland, apocrine sweat gland, and also the nail. Well, we only focus on these 4 components. Okay. Okay, for the hair follicle, this is the hair follicle. You can see here, this is the hair follicle. Okay. The hair follicle is present all over the body. Okay, it's present all over the body, except we have exceptions here that you have to remember. Except palm, sole, lips, and region around the urogenital orifice. This is the exceptions. And the hair follicle here, it is a tubular invagination. Okay, it is a tubular invagination, even invagination of epidermis. So you can see here the epidermis is go down here. So it invaginate. The tubular invagination of the epidermis. Tubular invagination of the epidermis. So because it is a tubular invagination of the epidermis, so it is lined by the stratified squamous epithelium that's similar to the epidermis. So the hair follicle is surround the hair. In the middle here we have the hair. Function is to produce hair. And then the hair bulb. This is the hair bulb. Okay, it is the located at the lowest part of the hair follicle. It is expanded. And the lowest part of the hair follicle, it is expanded. Okay, and this the lowest part of the hair follicle. Whenever it expanded, it form the hair bulb. Okay, this is the whole structure of the hair bulb. At the base of the hair bulb, there is invagination. Invagination. There is invagination by the dermal papilla. So this is dermal papilla. Mean that the dermis is going inside here. Okay. It is composed of the loose connective tissue that contain the capillary network. So you can have you can see there is a capillary that present inside there. The hair bulb here, it contains two types of cell. The matrix cells. The matrix cell will divide and produce the new cell that will differentiate and keratinize to form the hair. And then we have the melanocyte that give rise to the color to the hair. Okay, for the connective tissue sheet, this is the connective tissue sheet. Okay, the connective tissue sheet is part of the dermis that surround the hair follicle. You can see that it surround the hair follicle. It form a sheet. It continues with the dermal papilla. It continues with the dermal papilla at the lower end, and the papillary layer dermis of the dermis above it. Okay, and the connective tissue sheet, it is connected with the erectile pili muscle. Okay, there is erectile pili muscle that attached to the connective tissue sheet. This erectile pili muscle, it is a bundle of smooth muscle cells. At one end, it is attached to the connective tissue sheet. At the other end, it connected to the papillary layer of the dermis. Okay. Whenever the erectile pili muscle contracted, the muscle will pull the hair to make it erect, and it will give or produce goosebump effect. Okay, so you can see here, this is the cut section of the skin. Okay, you can see above here we have the epidermis, and this is the hair follicle. You can see here, this is the hair follicle, this is the hair bulb, this is the external root sheet. Okay, and we have the dermal papilla here. Okay, now we're going to proceed to discuss on the second component of the skin appendages, the sebaceous gland. The sebaceous gland. The sebaceous gland is a simple branch acinar gland. The sebaceous gland, it produces sebum, which is the oily secretion, and the sebaceous gland usually it associated with the hair follicle. Okay, okay, it is associated with the hair follicle, and the duct here, if you see here, the duct is open into the hair follicle. The cell produces lipid droplet until dangerous, and mechanism of secretion is through the holocrine secretions. Okay, under the H&E staining or section, the cell of the sebaceous gland have finely reticulated cytoplasm. You can see here, it appear like a reticulated, okay, reticulated like a foamy. Okay, due to the loss of lipid during the tissue preparations. That is the reason it appear like that. Both the oily secretion and cell debris are discharged as sebum into the hair follicle. So you can see here, this is the intact sebum containing cells, containing secretory cell. So this is the larger view. Okay, this is the integrating sebum containing secretory cell. Okay, so you can see here, this is the sebaceous gland. So it is associated with the hair follicle. So you can see that the duct here. Okay, now we're going to proceed with the sweat gland. Sweat gland is a simple coil. It's a coil, simple coil tubular gland. It has two parts, the secretory portion and also the ductal portion. Okay. So for the secretory portion, it is a bigger in diameter and it is lightly stained. The ductal portion is smaller in diameter, is darker stained. So if you see here, this is the secretory portions. It's a lightly stained. Darker ductal portion here is a darker stain. Here is larger, here is smaller in diameter. Okay. Okay. So we start to discuss on the eccrine sweat gland first. We have two types of sweat gland: eccrine sweat gland and apocrine sweat gland. Okay. This is the eccrine sweat gland. Okay, you can see here. Where is the location of the body that you can find the eccrine sweat gland? This is the location. Okay, it can be found at the entire part of the body surface, except it cannot be found in the cannot be found in the lips and also external genitalia. Okay, cannot be found in the lips and also in the external genitalia. And the eccrine sweat gland, it is not associated with the hair follicle, so it is independent from the hair follicle. Okay, the duct open onto the skin surface here. Mechanisms of secretion is merocrine secretion. The function of the secretion is whenever it secretes sweat onto the body surface, the evaporation of water in sweat will produce a cooling effect for the thermoregulations. Okay, so you can see here, this is the ductal portion, smaller in diameter, darker in color. This is the secretory portion, okay, lighter in color and larger in diameter of them. This is the eccrine sweat gland. For the apocrine, okay, now we're going to the next one, which is the apocrine sweat gland. This is the apocrine sweat gland. The location is present only in the axilla, areola of mammary gland, and also in the anal genital region. And the mechanism of secretion is merocrine secretion. Okay, usually the duct is open into the hair follicle. You can see here, the duct is open into the hair follicle. The secretory part it has a larger lumen. You can see here the secretory part, it has larger lumen compared to the secretory part of the sweat gland. Okay, smaller one, small, right? Compared to this one is larger. Okay, this is different between the eccrine sweat gland and apocrine sweat gland. Okay, for the distribution, it widely distributed entire body surface except lips and external genitalia. For the apocrine, limited distribution, only present in the axilla, areola, and external genitalia. For the lumen of secretory portions, narrow and wide, and narrow for eccrine. Okay, eccrine is narrow, and apocrine is wide. And for the opening of duct onto the skin surface, but for the duct opening is into the hair follicle for the apocrine. For the eccrine, it present in the both thick and also the thin skin. For apocrine, only present in the thin skin. For the associated with the hair follicle, eccrine sweat gland is not associated with the hair follicle. Apocrine, yes. Okay. For the thick skin, now we're going to discuss on the thick skin. It is located at the palms of the hand and also sole of the feet, because this is the area where the most part of the skin that exposed to the physically abrasion, physically stress. Okay. Okay. The feature here, it has the thick epidermal layer, and there is a presence of the stratum lucidum. Presence of the stratum lucidum. There is no hair, no sebaceous gland, no erectile muscle, no apocrine sweat gland present in the thick skin. And the eccrine sweat gland are present. In the thin skin, it can be found elsewhere around the body. Okay, it's found elsewhere on the body. The features, it has thin epidermal layer. So you can see here, it has thin epidermal layer. The stratum lucidum is absent. The hair follicle is present. Erectile muscle is present. Sebaceous gland is present. Eccrine and apocrine sweat gland are present. Okay, now we're going to proceed with the clinical applications of this knowledge. So by having knowledge of all of these components, so you know the different type of burn. So we have 3 types of burn: first degree burn, second degree burn, and third degree burn. Okay, for the first degree burns, only the superficial part of the epidermis is destroyed. The stratum vessel is not damaged. Okay, so the destroyed layer of the epidermis will be replaced. But for the second degree burn, the whole epidermis and superficial part of the epidermis is damaged. But the lower part of sweat gland, the hair follicle, is not damaged. Surviving diabetes cells will regenerate. Okay, involved in the epidermal regenerations. The third degree burn destroy the entire epidermis, dermis, and also skin appendages. and it needs a skin graft. So you can see here, this is the first degree burn, second degree burn, this is the third degree burn. Thank you. I hope you enjoy these presentations.